Hello and welcome to the It's Your Time live stream podcast show with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. I am so excited that we get to hang out together this week for a conversation about making time to dream, plan and take action daily. So as you are joining me, let me know in the comments where you are joining from around the world, because I love to hear who is live on the show. And obviously, if you are listening to this on the replay or on the podcast, then welcome. I am so excited that we get to hang out together for the next sort of 20-25 minutes. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat as well, and we will get to them. So you are listening to the It's Your Time show. Each week we are bringing you transformational stories from entrepreneurs and professionals around the world, sharing their life-changing experiences to give you proof of what's possible after adversity, as well as inspiring and motivating you to take control of your time and to take action on your dreams. And for this episode, it's just you and me, and we are having a conversation all about making time to dream. And during our time together, I am going to be sharing 3 steps that you can use to create the business, the career, the life that you want in 2022. And these are steps that I use in my own life and steps that I share with my clients and organizations that I work with as well. So this week, it's really for us to have a conversation about where stories meet strategy, where your fears become your friends, and where your dreams become your reality. If 2022 is going to be the year when things really change for you, then let's make today's conversation the one that moves the needle for you, for your business, for your side hustle, for your career, for your life. So let me introduce myself. This is our first time hanging out. My name, as I said, is Abigail Barnes. I am the founder of Success by Design Training. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, a 2-time author, an international speaker, and a corporate trainer on productivity, high-performing teams and well-being, as well as the creator of the renowned 888 formula. But prior to starting my business, for those of you who don't know, I worked in financial services marketing, in investment management, asset management, and hedge funds for over 10 years. I've got a BA honours degree in business and marketing management and a professional postgraduate diploma in marketing. I'm also a qualified coach. I'm giving you this background to give you reference points to what we're talking about here today and why I am sort of qualified to be talking about this and taking you on this journey. So as I said, let me know in the comments if you are joining me live and where you are joining from, because I love finding out who is tuning in and who is listening to the show. If you are joining on the replay as well, let me know that you have tuned in to the replay of this episode. So why is it so important that we talk about making time for our dreams? Over the last 8 years that I've been running my business, I have asked audiences, clients, and people around the world what their biggest challenges are when it comes to changing their life. And the number one challenge that comes up again and again and again and again is that they don't have time. So this is the first hurdle, the first stumbling block to their dreams, to changing their life, is they don't have time. They're too busy in the day-to-day, stuck in doing the things, being the thing, having the thing, that they don't have time to dream. The second thing that comes up is that they are afraid. So they are afraid of what might happen if they have that dream. They are afraid of what might happen if they don't get that dream. So the fear of the unknown around the success of it, the fear of the unknown around the potential failure of it, is stopping them from even starting to dream. And perhaps you can identify with this. And then the third thing that comes up around making time for dreaming is money. So people will say, I don't have the money to dream. I've got too many things that I need to focus on, so I can't. It's too much of a luxury. So let's address each one of these separately before we go into the 3 tips that I have for you for this session today. And as I said, any questions, leave them in the comments. So the first one, I don't have enough time. We all have the same 24 hours. Now, I appreciate that that statement is quite privileged because we all have a different life. We all have a different life experience. We've all got access to different resources. And while we have the same time as the people we admire, the people we support, the people we work with, our friends and our family, we don't have their beliefs yet. But what I would love to encourage you to do is to suspend all of those arguments for a second and just allow yourself to accept that if you have the same time and if they have the life you want, what needs to happen to make that your life? Because if it's possible for them, it's possible for you. And when we allow ourselves to stay in that energy, to sit in that reality for long enough, and it only needs to be a matter of seconds, we are rewiring our brains, we are changing our reality, and we are allowing new possibility and new questions to come in. If we shut it down straight away with the yeah, but, then nothing is going to change. So it's about allowing yourself and giving yourself the grace of 20 seconds. That's all it takes. It doesn't have to be a long, long time. Just to sit in the possibility of, okay, I accept that for 20 seconds. So what can I do? Then things can start to change. So then the second area, what's stopping you? The fear. So we have this fear of the unknown. We have this fear of the known. The known is where we are right now. The known is creating the reality we have right now. The known is what's almost keeping us comfortable. It's keeping us stuck. But what makes this any better than the unknown? And why are we making the unknown the big baddie? Why are we making the unknown this thing that we're scared of, that we're afraid of? What if the unknown was better than the known? What if it was the known that was actually affecting our lives in a way that isn't for our best and our highest good? What if the unknown was actually the path that was going to help us to be, to do, to have everything that we wanted? Because on the other side of the unknown is everything we want. On the other side of the known is everything we already have. So therefore, again, it's another reframe. It's another 20 seconds. It's another, I've done things that I've not known about before, and I'm still here. So what is the worst that's going to happen? And it's about recognizing that perhaps the worst that's going to happen is that we do nothing. And that the fears and the stories about, if I do it, then this will happen, and if I do it, then that will happen, they're actually all made up. They're actually not true. And if you find an example in your past where you have tried something and the worst case scenario that you had imagined didn't happen, then that's proof that perhaps you can try something new, and the worst case scenario that you're imagining isn't going to happen. Because from where I sit, it's worse that I don't try something and that something doesn't change and that I don't give potential to something else, because I know what I know, and what I know is keeping me where I am. So that might sound a little bit esoteric, but hopefully you're getting my point. And then the third thing, the money thing that's stopping you. Now, I appreciate that each of us is in the situation that we're in. So let's accept the situation that we're in, but also accept that where we are right now is not our final destination. Our current location is not our final destination. So therefore, asking ourselves a question like, what do I need to do in order to change, to stop, or to start, so that my current financial situation isn't stopping me from the life that I want to be living? Because in order to have the life that you want, you have to be able to and willing to keep ploughing on forward despite the hurdles in front of you. Now, you can, and you are very entitled to stop at the hurdles. And believe me, there have been times in my life where I have seen a hurdle and just stopped. However, the minute we stop, this is where we begin to settle. And we don't want to settle. We were not born to settle. We were not born to make the best of where we are, and that's as much as you can expect. Yes, make the best of it, but keep going, keep stretching, keep living with the possibilities, with the potential, pushing the boundaries and seeing where you can go. Because we only get one life. The opportunities that you have, what is for you will never pass you by. However, the clock on our lives is always ticking. So it's not that this is your only opportunity, this is your last opportunity, you're too old to do it, it's too much of a risk. But the more and the longer we keep saying it's not right time, it's not the right time, it's not the right time, it's not the right time, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when is the right time? I would argue that the right time is now. It's your time. It's your time right now. So let's talk then about these 3 steps to creating the business and the life or the career that you want in 2022. Perhaps you are one of these people that would love to start a business. For years, I wanted to start a business, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know anybody around me in my circle who did it. My peers and idols were the likes of Richard Branson. Now, I'd never had a conversation with him, so I didn't know how he did it. I read a book of his or 2, but it didn't ever give me the steps. So I just stayed where I was until my wake-up call that happened in 2012. If we've hung out before, you will know that that was a near-death experience on a work business trip. And that's what gave me the kick in the butt, if you like, to just say, it's now or never. I still don't really understand this business thing. I still don't really know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to give it a go or die trying. Because what I recognized is that we're all dying anyway. And that's not to be depressing. That's just a fact. The clock's ticking for us all. The bodies that we are in are, they're being used. They're wearing out, if you like. Everything has a certain amount of time. So what are we doing with the time that we have? So step number 1, and all of these steps are going to sound crazy, trust me. But if you were doing them, you would have the life that you want. And this is the thing. So life is simple, but it's not easy. And it's not easy because sometimes we're overcomplicating the simplicity. So step number 1, make time to dream. And what I mean by this is, do you dream on Mondays at 9 a.m? Do you dream on Mondays at 6 p.m? Do you dream on Mondays at 7:35 p.m? Or Tuesdays? Or Wednesdays? Or Thursdays? Or Fridays? Do you dream on Saturdays at 11 a.m? Do you dream on Sundays at 3 p.m? Decide what day you are going to allow yourself to dream, what time you are going to allow yourself to dream, and commit to it. And if you want to do it on multiple days, you can do it on multiple days. But what I want you to do is to decide for yourself and make a commitment for yourself. If you want things to change, that is. If you're happy with where you are, that's cool. And perhaps this conversation is just confirmation that what you have is what you want. And that is amazing, because we don't all want to change things. Some of us do, some of us don't. And this is the best thing about life, is that we are all a huge variety of individuality that makes up the whole. No one of us is the same. No one of us wants the same things as somebody else. And that is fantastic. So first of all, decide when you are going to dream, and make that as an appointment with yourself. Put it into your diary, whether you have a physical diary or an online diary. Diarize it and make it a bright color. Maybe use a highlighter pen and highlight it that this is my dreaming time. This is my appointment with myself to dream. Perhaps you only want to do this once a week. Perhaps you only want to do this once a month, once a quarter, once a year. I would encourage you in these rapidly changing times to do it more often than once per year, because things are changing fast. Things are moving fast. So your dreams are going to change. Your wants are going to change. And that's amazing. So give yourself more time to do it. But commit to a time. If you don't commit to a time, it will become a someday, a one day, a should day. And we don't want it to be that. We want it to be something you look forward to, something you're excited about, something you have committed to for yourself. So that's number 1. Step number 2, make time to plan. So once you have had your dreaming session, then it is about making a plan. And this is how you reduce the overwhelm of it. Because maybe you're like me, your dreams are big. And they're so big that some days you're already tired thinking about them before you've done them. So make a plan. Make a plan and break this plan down into steps. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do the day after? Like you would for work, step by step by step. If there's a business that you want to start, what books do I need to read? Who can help me to do it? What don't I know? Who is my ideal client? Where do they hang out? What is their problem? Why would they pay me? Why would they want to work with me? How can I do this alongside my job? Because perhaps you're in a job and you want to start a side business. When am I going to work on it? How much time do I have to work on it? Break it down and make a plan. You would never sit down to eat a meal, pick up your plate, open your mouth and pour the whole thing in. You eat a meal, mouthful by mouthful. So you do the same with anything, with your business. Perhaps there are goals that you have for your life. Perhaps you want to buy a house. Perhaps you want to move house. Perhaps you want to decorate your house. What does that look like? Where do I need to research? What room do I want to decorate first? What is my budget? What is my colour scheme? And break it down. Perhaps you want a relationship. Perhaps this is the year when you sort of take dating seriously. Perhaps this is the year when you invest time in the relationship that you actually have, or relationships. Perhaps it's with friends, perhaps it's with family, perhaps it's with your children. Perhaps this is the year where you recognize that maybe for the last couple of years you've been in survival mode and you have been trying to fight many fires, and now is the time to regroup, to reset, to recalibrate, and to come out of the gate again with a plan. So what does that plan look like? Break it down step by step by step. And then the third thing, remember I said at the beginning, this is simple stuff, but it's not easy. The third thing, make time to take these actions. If you are not making the time and setting the time in your diary and committing to this time, believe me, time is just going to fly by. And you're going to find yourself saying, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I can't think about it. I don't know where to begin. I'm so overwhelmed. So these steps build one on top of the other. Your life changes to the degree that you are committed to make the changes for yourself, for your life. It's not anybody else's life. It's not somebody else's goals. These are goals for you. And if they're not for you in some way, shape, or form, you are not going to be committed to doing anything towards achieving them. Because it just is not going to matter. There's going to be no emotional connection to you taking an action. And you need to be emotionally connected to the goals in order to take the actions. So those are the 3 steps to creating the business, the career, or the life that you want in 2022. And you can watch this video back, take more notes, ask more questions, leave comments in the comments box afterwards. I'll be coming back to check them. So I want to end this conversation today with 2 things. The first thing I want to say is that if you are struggling with things like how to plan and create an action plan, goal setting and what that even is, vision boarding and how to do that, in my book, Time Management for Entrepreneurs and Professionals, from page 74 onwards, there is detailed instructions for how to plan your actions, how to set goals, and how to create a vision board, along with the 5-step process for turning your time into productivity, as well as case studies from entrepreneurs and professionals and top tips from professionals and entrepreneurs around the world. So I'll leave a link to the book. You can grab that and grab all of those resources. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I want to leave you with before we call this conversation complete for today is for you to decide what is one action that you are going to do, one, after having finished listening to this conversation today. Because if you just turn this off and say, interesting, yeah, I knew that, nothing in your life is going to change. Or, interesting, yeah, I should do that. Nothing in your life is going to change. Your life will change to the degree that you make a commitment and take an action step. So to go through those 3 points that we talked about today, step number 1, make time to dream. Are you going to make time to dream? When are you going to dream? Is this going to be your action? Step number 2, make time to plan. Is this going to be your action? Step number 3, make time to take action. is this going to be your action? So thank you so much for joining me today. It has been my pleasure and honour to share this with you. I look forward to hanging out with you again next week with our special guest, where we are going to be giving you more proof of what's possible when you start taking action on your dreams, on your life, because it's your time. There has never been a better time to take a step, small steps. You don't need to be taking gigantic steps and scaring yourself so much that then you don't do anymore. It's about breaking it down into the smallest step. And before we go, I think I'm going to leave you with this story. So when I was 19, I went on a holiday on my own. And I decided that I was in Greece and I wanted to take a ferry from the island I was on to the mainland. Now, the holiday company I had gone with provided excursions, and they said, we'll pick you up in a bus, we'll take you to the ferry, we'll take you across, yada, yada. But there was something in me that wanted to do it for myself. I wanted to learn, I wanted to explore, I wanted to go when I wanted to go, and I wanted to get on the ferry that I wanted to get on. So from my lounger on the beach, I saw a ferry go backwards and forwards. I asked somebody in the bar in the hotel if this ferry went to the mainland, and they said yes. So the next day, I walked from the beach to the ferry port. Now, it was very clear when I got there that this wasn't something that people usually did. There wasn't a clear path for you to walk. There wasn't a clear direction signposting you for where to get on the ferry. But I figured it out. I followed people, and I just kept trusting that it would all work out. I managed to get a ticket and get on the ferry and get to the mainland. And it was then I realised, I've done it. And then I realised, but how am I going to get back? Does this ferry go back again? Now, from my lounger, I'd seen it go backwards and forwards, but I didn't know if it went backwards and forwards every day, if it was actually the same ferry, because from my lounger, it was hard to tell if it was the same branding. I also didn't know if it was the same price. There were so many things I hadn't thought about because I just didn't know what I didn't know. So I had a panic. What if I can't get back? What if I'm stuck on this island? What if something happens to me? What if I get robbed? What if? And all these thoughts were flooding through my head. And so I took a step. And I took another step. And I took another step. And it was like I was wading through the fears, the thoughts, the worry, the anxiety. And I found my way to the ticket office. And I managed, in English, with their Greek, with their English, I had very basic Greek, to ask them for a return ticket. And I was advised that the ferry went every hour. So I immediately bought a return ticket. Took note of the time and went to walk to the port because I was running out of water. I walked into a cafe and I asked them for water. They didn't understand me. I didn't understand them, but they didn't understand me. So I did the only thing I could think. I got my bottle of water out of my bag and I held it up and I pointed and I did a number 1, pointed at the water and smiled. And through the universal language of signing, they understood what I was after. So I took some money out of my purse, held it out, and they helped me to work out how much I needed to pay. So now I had a ticket back and water. So I walked out of the cafe and walked around the port, around the harbour. Now, what I could have done was in my head thought that ferry goes every hour. So, maybe I'll go here, maybe I'll go there, maybe I'll spend the afternoon here. But what I did was I allowed myself to take a small step out of my comfort zone and just spend an hour on the mainland. So I wandered round. I felt empowered that I had done it all myself and I hadn't gone on an organised excursion. And I got on the ferry and I went back to the island where everything was. And I'm sharing that story as an example of the number of times that in our life we don't necessarily know all the things, but we have a desire, we have a want, and we have the will. And it's a story for another day, but when I was 19 at university, 20 at university actually, a guy came up to me and gave me a post-it note. And on that post-it note, it said, "Winners find a way." And that post-it note became the mantra for my life. But the story I've just shared shows you that I had already been living that mantra. His post-it note was just confirmation that I always find a way, always find a way, always find a way. So the mantra that I now live by has become winners always find a way. And I'm sharing this story to impress upon you the fact that we don't always need to know the exact steps, and we don't always need to know what we don't know, what we don't know, what we don't know. But if we can believe and accept and allow ourselves the opportunity to learn as we go, then our life is going to become what it is that we came here for it to be. A life of exploration, a life of elevation, a life of evolution. So that is the note that I want to leave you on today. What action are you going to take away from our conversation today? It's your time, and I guarantee you will always find a way to figure it out. And one of the ways is by asking other people for help. So thank you. It has been amazing to spend this time with you. I look forward to hearing what you've taken away from this conversation today. And if you feel like somebody else you know would benefit from this, please share it with them, tag them in it, share the link, help them, because we are all in this life experience, journey, experiment together, living, learning, evolving, and trying. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.